Well, good day, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the show. With Mike, Easus is here. Hello, Easus.
Hello, Michael.
Still wearing your Michigan Championship hat.
Yeah.
I like it.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't worn a lot of hats recently. I used to be a big hat guy, and I kind of stopped when I was growing my hair out.
Yeah,
crazily.
you were kind of a NASCAR hat guy, if I remember correctly.
Well, lots of sport. I used to like I always theme dress. So hats are a good way to. Maybe our teams have sucked so much in the last years that I haven't been wearing the sports hats as much. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to wear it for a while, I guess. I don't know when I'll stop wearing it.
Yeah.
Maybe
No, it's a good looking hat.
Maybe
at
a
least.
Super Bowl hat,
Yeah, that'd be nice. Those NASCAR hats are so fucking ugly that,
Yeah.
But that at least is a good looking hat.
I mean, I never got bothered by them, obviously, because I wore them all the time.
Yeah,
but
and I see grown men wearing like logoed fucking jackets. Like,
Yeah.
I've never understood that. But, teach
it's just part of NASCAR. I would say, what's funny when you talk about sports, too, is like there's a lot of guys that get really on the idea of like not wearing a jersey with another man's name on it.
Yeah,
and I always think like, dude, that's your line. Like you're okay. They're okay with wearing like a jersey with like their name or a weird name or a no name. They're okay with going to the game. They're okay with caring about the game. But the jerseys where you draw the line.
I don't think that's a legit argument for many people. I think most people, enjoy wearing a jersey.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of them. I almost never wear them. They don't feel that comfortable.
Yeah, I love wearing them. I do love wearing them. I don't.
Well, there's some pride around here. I noticed the flag on your car. You've got the Lions flag going. That's
car
great.
flag is rocking.
I like seeing it. I actually thought about car flags today because I've long said, wow, you thought it was cool in '97 when the wings.
Right.
And if you remember those days, if you're you old enough to remember that, like it was almost every car in the city. It was crazy.
I remember one time we went down. I used to go to a lot of those Joe Visions. And again, everyone could have this thing, but I count, as a kid, you're still young enough that you're like, I'm going to count every one.
Yeah.
Dude, it was over 200 from like Novi to Joe Louis Arena, you know what I mean? Or something like, or Wixom, I should
It was
say.
a real thing. And I still stand firmly by this is a football city.
Yeah.
As much as it's a hockey city.
For sure.
And people will.
I think
go
it's a sports
nuts.
city in reality.
Yeah,
it's
it
a
is.
sports city. If the team is good, they fucking care.
Yeah.
For sure.
And we learned last night who the Lions are playing in the divisional round. That'll be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Baker Mayfield-led Buccaneers. I think it's a good matchup. The Lions absolutely should win that game and be in a championship game. Can you imagine? There's a chance that they'll have a home playoff game for the championship week.
Crazy.
I mean, the Packers look really good. All of a sudden, that Thanksgiving Day loss doesn't look so brutal.
Yeah.
Because this team definitely turned it around and got on the right track. They're taking on my Niners up in Santa Clara.
Yep.
But there's, I'm obviously hoping for a Niners-Lions championship, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah.
And that could happen. I don't know who Lions fans would want to play more. A team that knows you like the Packers do, or a team like San Francisco that you don't see that often on the road. It's like
my only thought is
crazy
is wanting it at home just because I feel like that's important. But other than that, as far as if they were going to let's say they were going to play either of those teams, but it was at home, I don't know. I'm not good enough to know.
I appreciate the amount of fans because I do this for some of you too. I know a lot of listeners that are fans of other teams, and we all kind of have the same attitude of like, well, if my team's not in it and the Lions are doing well, I'm going to root for the Lions.
Right.
I was talking to Tim about that earlier. Like, he's a big Dolphins fan. I know, John, who's a big Bills fan. So I fully understand. I've always appreciated like, hey, man, I was pulling for your Niners today.
Yeah.
And I know it's kind of cool when it's like, yeah, that's not your team, but what matters to me, so you're pulling for my team. I fully get this week that most people around here are pulling for them damn Packers.
Yeah.
They want the Packers to win, and if the Lions can pull off a win against Tampa and get a championship game at Ford Field,
why wouldn't you
imagine?
want that? You'd have no.
I'm not rooting for that, but I understand.
But as a Lions fan who has no other than a friend ties to say, you would want the best for your team. And
absolutely,
I certainly would like it.
It's the same reason my dad was like, "Well, not the end of the world that the Lions got fucked on this because it led to his Niners.
No, I agree.
Getting the 1 seed, and that's all that was mattered.
That's sports.
You would think other people would get that too. Kelly Stafford is.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's funny. She was an annoying pain in the ass when she was here.
Yeah.
You know, and she's equally annoying out there. I look at someone like that, and I'm just like, you know, you've got to be one of the most privileged women on planet Earth.
Oh my God, dude.
You know, blessed with all the looks and all that shit. No,
cheerleader at Georgia.
Yeah.
You know, married the quarterback.
Of course. It's like an all-American cliche story for her. Now, she's had her own struggles, you know, that having cancer like she did, like that's no bullshit.
Yeah.
But you just wish it's like, stop trying to pick fights with people. Stop, you know, like
well, she's got
we
that
all
podcast.
know those.
She's got to have content. Mike.
Yeah, whatever. But we all know those bitchy chicks, and it's like, just you're not. I've had girlfriends like that over the years.
Yeah.
That go to bat for you or want to defend. You know, I'm going to speak. It's like, please don't.
Right.
Please don't. You know.
Yeah.
It's an irritating thing. It's like It's almost like the woman who reaches over and honks her horn in traffic.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, listen, lady, you're not the one that's going to get their teeth knocked out if you honk at the wrong person out here.
For sure.
You know?
I think I have to say, I think Greg said it yesterday. She's a narcissist, probably. Certainly. And I don't disagree that if he's with her, he might not be as bad. But he, you know, I don't know how you could be with someone like that and not kind of be okay with it.
Well, the more I've watched the video of him, it's really petty.
Oh my God.
His fucking answer.
By the way, I'm so sorry I did that. But I finally watched this video of the reporter. Holy shit. I don't know how I never saw this before. But
with
the
him
video,
saying, I'm happy for the players.
No. The video of the girl falling, the photographer falling.
Oh, yeah. And you never seen that?
Never. I never saw. What dude.
That was at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, dude. I know everyone's already seen this. It's been. I just saw it, and I was like, I mean, he just turns around.
Yeah.
Just like nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well...
no, that's crazy.
It is. But I will say, people's immediate reaction to something out of the ordinary that happens in front of them is their natural reaction. Not making excuses for them.
Well, but that's worse, I feel like.
What?
I think that's worse. That's worse. You're making it worse.
Why?
Because his natural reaction when another human just falls is oh boy.
But I don't think of it like he doesn't care about other human beings. I think of it as like someone hears a gunshot and some people run out like, where was that? I'm going to defend whoever's here. And some people go, and they duck behind a tree or they run away in fear. Like when something shocking happens in front of you, like he might have just as easily turned around and ran back to her, but the camera caught what it caught.
Yeah, it could be.
It looks bad. And you would hope that any human being would, you know, I always respect the player that slams into a camera guy on the sideline and then just doesn't pick himself up and run back onto the field, but turns around. You see with basketball players when they go careening into the crowd, and sometimes they're like, hey, are you all right? You know, and there's a level of humanity like, hey, you know, at the end of the day, we're all humans and need to look out for one another. And that moment with Stafford was really bad.
Yeah. Like you said, maybe something happened after that, but it looked like he sure turned around and just kind of
like, time for me to go. Yeah.
I'm sure she's all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, she talking about the kids, people booing her kids.
I think she clarified that and said no one was booing her kids. But it's like, the fact that even came out was because of her.
Right.
And there's nobody in Ford Field, and we all know Lions fans can be obnoxious at times, but they're good people. There's no one that was booing her crew of 4-year-olds.
If they were booing, those boos were just directed at her. For
100%.
By the way. They were directed at her.
And they were booing at the opposing team's
colors quarterback,
and people. They would have booed Rams security guards.
Like, how would it not come to her head that she had this big deal with the jerseys? She has. If you're such a narcissist,
you're an idiot to think the jersey thing was real.
Well, I get that.
That's
but like,
her own fault.
But she speaks out on this. She doesn't think that if she hears some booing, take the fact that it's even sports and you're wearing that's probably because of what I said.
Yeah.
But she just goes to, no, they were booing my
kids.
Children.
Yeah.
My children.
Yeah. No one was booing your kids.
Born in Detroit, raised in LA. Fucking jackets.
So she said, what a season, and for it to end at Ford Field. Already excited for this Rams team next season, and he will be back next year, Detroit. But until then, go get you one.
Okay, I guess that's good.
Yeah, I don't believe her.
Yeah.
I bet she's rooting hard as hell.
Yeah.
She probably wants... with an ego like that, she's probably praying that if Matthew's not there to win it for them, nobody should.
Oh, I'd love that. You're right. I'd love to have
that's
a reaction.
probably her actual thought.
I'd love a reaction like whenever the Lions do lose. I'd love that reaction if they do. Yeah, I'd love that reaction video.
Yeah, she'd probably be loving it, you know. And the fact is, you know, the Detroit Rams thing was real.
Oh, I was on board for Detroit Rams, dude.
You know what I mean? Like that was.
Yeah.
People were genuinely rooting for Matt Stafford.
That's such bullshit.
Yeah.
Such bullshit. I was 100% wanting Stafford to win that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, so did I.
And so, like,
I hated to see him leave here. Right. I didn't think he was the problem. You know, and he's proving that he can ball out. I mean, it's even sweeter the way the Lions won against the Rams because Stafford balled out.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't make stupid mistakes. He was absolutely on his game.
Basically having a concussion.
Yeah.
If not, he did have a concussion.
100%.
So, but after that, it's like he got up and fucking just kept going.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're right. They beat him at his best, I would say. He didn't make a mistake. Really, not one of those Stafford interceptions.
Yeah,
that I kept fucking praying for.
Yeah, I know.
I kept saying, "Come on, where are one of these goddamn Stafford interceptions?"
That
we were so used to.
But a lot of times he was playing.
I love Stafford, dude. I had the jersey. I loved him. But I'm just saying.
You think he's a Hall of Famer?
It sounds from. You know what, dude? I don't.
There's a real debate about that.
I'll say this, for whatever it's worth, one of our local sports guys, Pat Caputo, says yes. He says he's in.
Yeah. I think he is too.
Probably. Probably. But I don't know enough.
He's a great quarterback. He was on a shit franchise for a long time.
He hadn't won that Super Bowl.
He won the Super Bowl. You know, there's a number of guys who can't touch Stafford's stats that are in. So
yeah,
I think he will be.
Sure. I don't know what it does for me.
Yeah.
I've really soured on him, I would say a little bit. I've really soured on him.
We'll see what Stafford means, what he thinks this city means to him going forward. Going forward, when he retires, is he here like Barry Sanders? Is he here like Calvin Johnson? Is he here like Eminem and Kid Rock? Or does he never step foot back in Ford Field or Detroit ever again? My guess is he never steps foot back in Detroit. He's not from here originally.
Right.
And but neither was Calvin. And Calvin's here.
Yeah.
You know, those guys that really, you know, kind of put down stakes here, you know, that happens for some guys. My guess is Stafford won't be back in Detroit until they're presenting him with a jacket or something to commemorate his time here.
Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor type celebration.
Yeah.
And then, you know, what do you got to do to get him into town to do that? That's just a thought.
I've heard, by the way, people dissing at Eminem in some comments, just like in comment threads. They're like, where was he when we were losing? It's like, for one, I don't know.
He was around.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't know that he wasn't at these games, by the way. No one cared. Mm-hmm. So to suggest that he's just showed up because they've been winning, I would say you just don't even know the answer. And I don't even agree that he wasn't around.
Yeah, he was. He doesn't make many appearances at all, but he was around with the Pistons.
Yeah, oh yeah.
For sure. And I don't know what kind of hockey fan he is. I don't remember seeing him.
Yeah, I don't know.
But basketball and football, he was around for.
Yeah, I don't look at him as like, oh, he just showed up now because they're winning.
Yeah,
I don't feel like that.
I know. I have friends in California that their daughter was saying something like, who is this man on my TV? Like young kids.
Oh, boy, yeah.
They don't even know who Eminem is. And they're just like, who is this guy that's Johnny come lately telling us to root for our team?
Yeah.
Like they didn't get it at all.
I was thinking about that, him on the field and seeing him in the suite. I hate to say that because everyone gets older or you die. But he does seem like he's at that level that he's if you watch old Eminem videos, he's a little more normal. You know what I mean? He's not doing the drugs anymore. I know that, so that probably helps. But
I miss the blonde hair.
I like the look. I think he's grown old.
Really?
Very
gracefully.
Gracefully. I would say he's grown old gracefully. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like I look at him now as like he is not young Eminem. He is not an old man.
He's a 50-year-old man.
But he's a 50-year-old Eminem.
Oh yeah. No, we've always wondered, like, how does this play out? You know, Paul McCartney can tour the world at 75,
right?
You know, playing songs, but how do you do that with, bitch, I'ma kill you?
Yeah, I mean, he really doesn't tour though that much anymore.
No,
I mean, he does some festivals after
festivals, big payday for one set.
Yeah.
I mean, he's never been the guy that's going to go on big tours.
Yeah.
But it's great if you're around here. I've seen Eminem multiple times.
Right.
At Ford Field, and I think I saw him at the Silverdome.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Huh.
But definitely Ford Field.
Yeah.
Tiger Stadium a couple times.
Yep.
So
for sure.
He's been around. I wanted to talk about the future a little bit around here. I wanted to talk about it yesterday, but we got on a run with Henson, and it just never came around. And I've told you guys that I really don't like talking about things that are coming up, because things have a way of falling through.
Once you put it out there.
Yeah, once you put it out there, and then it's like, what happened to so-and-so? You're like, fuck, I can't win, man. I'm doing what I can on my end. It's as simple as that. I'm not trying to say this or that and then have it fall through. That sucks for me more than it does for you. And so I didn't want to say anything, but I've had talks for years about changing things up and what that means. And, I probably waited too long to do that when I got back after COVID. It was kind of easier to just kind of roll with, what I was doing. And
what you were comfortable with, which is what a lot of humans tend to
do. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's more comfortable for me to just be like, I guess this works. But it was never the plan. That was never my plan. For the whole thing.
Yeah.
Not like, I'm not shitting on Troy or anything, but, it was like, yeah, you can be a part of whatever the bigger plan is down the road.
Yeah.
But that was always kind of how I felt. And I had conversations with multiple people about doing stuff, and some things have fallen through and that I thought would have been cool. But one person that I've talked to a lot about this was Raj Sharma. He's Dallas based now. He was in LA for years, and he got introduced to us through Newberg, and Raj and I always got along. Now, Raj is a fucking libtard. I know that, but I don't think that's the worst thing.
I would say it's definitely not.
Yeah. That, I think at the end of the day, I really wanted to be with people who understood entertainment and that kind of aspect. Like, that was really important to me, whether that's a comic or someone in radio. Like, they're just different kind of people.
You want really someone who, this is what they want to do.
Right. Yeah.
No offense to either of the previous people that everyone knows we're talking about, I would say. But those aren't people, neither of those guys, Jay or Troy, and I'm not trying to be mean, but they would both agree with that. They didn't grow up saying, I want to be in radio. I want to be a stand-up comic. I want to be whatever. Right.
And that's not a shot at anyone.
It's not.
You know what? I've worked hard to pick, I knew that Jay would work. I knew who Jay was, and I, that's a weird decision. And if you guys are being honest, at first it was like, who the fuck is this guy?
All right, sure.
I put up with shit about E, and it was like, just wait.
Yeah.
But it was, people fell in love with it, and that's great. And I knew Jay was a different kind of guy, and I knew that would work. But Jay's also very, he's more worried about his family, and it's like money before anything.
But it's not even money, but
it's money.
Security for his family.
Right.
Like, it's not like,
and that's not a bad thing.
He's not a money hungry pig. It's just that he has a responsibility. He's one of those guys who's like, I have a responsibility. I must do that.
He's the kind of guy that wants to know at the end of the week what his check is.
Yeah.
And in something like this, it fluctuates. It just does.
Right.
It's sometimes you have sponsors, sometimes you don't. Sometimes people donate, sometimes they don't. So it's very hard to get kind of your, okay, for the next 2 years, I've got a contract stating I make X.
You have to be
like, that's not the reality. Right. Of it. So it falls in line with why I never had kids, why I never got married, why E is the way E is. And it's like, I know I'm a piece of shit, so I don't need to drag anyone else down with me. Like, if I don't have responsibilities of raising kids and turning them into well-adjusted, it was like, no, I don't know where my next paycheck's coming from.
Right.
And so I don't want anything to do with that. I don't want to be a deadbeat dad. And the best way to make sure I'm not a deadbeat dad is to not be a fucking dad. That's just the way I feel. And Would I have been a decent father? Maybe.
I'm sure you would have been.
Maybe. I get along great with my niece and nephews, and I have a ball with them. And part of me goes, wow, that would have been an exciting life, a fun life. And I fear as you get older, that gets further and further ingrained. And it's like,
for sure,
like you missed out on something, and you're feeling that now with your niece. And it's like, wow, what could I have done if I had one of my own? And it's like, there's lots of radio guys who never get married, though. It's just kind of, it's a weird thing, and I would say I certainly don't speak for all of them. But
life is just what everyone. More and more as you get older, you got to realize. To be honest with you, it even goes back to that talk with the crying, with Greg yesterday, and kind of railing on me with the crying. But I just think
that was funny though.
But
Greg knows that's funny.
Oh no, but I'm saying like you just realize as you get older. Hopefully, some people don't, but everyone has different things they want. Everyone has different things they care about.
Yeah, and as you get older, you understand that more, and you care less what other people.
Yeah,
think.
and like my emphasis, much like yours, has always just been to be happy doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I did not care as much about the other aspects.
Yeah,
the money necessarily.
It's weird. I understand it now that it's weird to most people, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I genuinely, when I made good money, it was like, wow, this could all end tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't want to be responsible for some kids.
Right.
Like, holy shit. Then I gotta, because at the end of the day, then it ties you to like, well, I guess now I got to go find a job in the real world.
To be the paycheck guy.
Yeah, and we're just fully aware that what we're doing isn't a real job. Like this isn't a job. Most people hate their job. That's why it's a job, and you have to do it. And you go there because you've got responsibilities, and we're kind of stuck in this immature world where looking for support from strangers and approval from strangers. Like I'm smart enough to understand that. I don't know why it's that way. So anyways, I had been talking to Raj for a long time, and then the pandemic hit.
A lot of the stuff that happened, I will say on your end, for whatever reason, it was a perfect storm of unfortunate events that led to things not probably happening as sooner or how they would have happened. Like I think would have been very different, even with your health issues and not when you went out there. If COVID had never happened, there would have been a lot.
Well, I planned on being gone for a couple months.
Yeah,
that's what the plan was. And literally, when I drove west, I got the phone call like, holy shit, the whole country's falling apart.
Right.
Like that's what happened. And so instead of being there 2 months, I was there 2 years. And I was never afraid of COVID. I wasn't afraid of death, first off. So that's part of it. It was like, oh, this could be the perfect way out. I didn't have to do it myself, and I get the fuck out of here.
Done you a favor, actually.
Yeah, done me a giant favor. I'm pretty miserable in my daily existence, so who cares? So I had that attitude going in, and speaking of which, my silly old man, my dad has COVID right now.
Oh, really?
First time, yeah. So, and he's battling it, so he's doing all right. But you worry, he's 76.
Oh,
so,
for sure.
I'm
just curious. Is it kind of just mild? Is he just kind of?
No, I guess he's feeling it. I was like, I was asking my mom. I was like, well, is he one of those? Is he a baby when he gets sick? She goes, no, not at all. And I was like, yeah, that kind of does sound like him. I don't remember that much, but she's like, no, he's not. He's not one of those guys. It's like
I get sniffles and I'm on the couch.
Yeah, I'm on the couch and I need everybody to do stuff for me. That's more me.
Yeah,
but my dad, no. Okay. And so if he's complaining about it, it's serious.
That's a bummer.
And they're like, well, but he was still texting me last night about the game, watching the Eagles, and so I don't know. So where was
tapas, I guess.
Yeah, tapas for sure. Thoughts and prayers and all that shit. So, what was I saying? Isis. So yeah, the plan got. I had been having lengthy phone conversations with Raj, and I think he's wickedly smart, wickedly funny, and he's a great conversationalist, and he's got a great laugh. So all of those things now. How that plays out in reality, who knows? Because we might end up hating each other, but because of our political views or something. My guess is that plays itself out the way it should, and it's more funny than anything else. And that's what I'm striving for. I'm not looking to make enemies.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to piss people off, and I know I can do that at times with kind of
all
or nothing fucking attitude.
I'll be curious to see how the how the stories change if they do at all? Or
well, I think the takes will change somewhat.
Yeah.
And you know what? I welcome other people's opinions. I don't mind having conversations with people that disagree with me.
Yeah.
And going, well, why do you feel that way? And dig a little deeper. So I'm really not terribly worried about that. So Raj and I had been talking off air for a long time. Like, I remember standing in my sister's driveway in California and having hour-long conversations with Raj about, what to do and blah, blah, blah. And then there were times when it was like, well, I think I'm coming home soon. And he was like, dude, focus on your health. Don't worry about it. This shit will be here whenever. Those were kind of the things that was going on. And then when I came home, it was like, I didn't expect to lose everything.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I didn't expect to come home to no one wanting to support the show, really, and no one, listeners not being there like they were before. I mean, you've got your P1s, and those people are great, and I didn't expect that. I honestly didn't. I didn't assume that I had earned something or I deserved something, but I just, I'm from the old school radio background, and what I'd seen, it's like when Drew was gone for 2 years and he came back, it was a smash hit. Now, that's not exactly apples to apples.
Yeah.
Because the amount of choices you had went from 5 in a market to 5 million.
Well, and you got to think,
so
technically, I would say, even though Drew is Drew,
yeah.
the show went on. So it wasn't like the Drew and Mike show ended.
Right.
And then he just, so it's
True.
a little different, too. And
True. And the fact that there were...
The selection.
The selection is massive.
Dude, everybody fucking...
It's massive. So I've been trying to figure out for months now. For months and months. Like, what do I do? What is the best way to do this? What do I want to do? Who do I want to do stuff with? And I just kept having open conversation with Raj. Now, I wasn't planning on firing Troy or blowing Troy up. The thought was I could use a third mic guy who can operate a Google machine. That's great. And if you work together well and you bring things up together, then everybody makes out, and it's a win across the board.
Correct.
And then Troy posted that, I quit, whatever his fucking, whatever thing was, which is hilarious, but whatever. So I was like, okay, well, that's easy. That takes care of that. I did get someone reaching out to me while I was away, and I fucking loved it. And I've been thinking about this dude for a while.
Nice.
I had been.
I'm kidding.
And this goes without saying that you're welcome to have whatever part in whatever. You're my guy, and
Oh, I know.
You're stuck there with me no matter what.
Yeah. So I would say the opposite. You're probably stuck with me.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. I love that. I honestly do. I mean that. So you're always welcome. So anything I'm talking about is not like, well, get this out of here. I don't want E here. Like, no, that's not it at all. But I know you have your own things you're doing, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here right now. You don't have to be. You could be on a couch yourself.
Yeah.
And so I really respect you coming by and helping out while this period's going on. But there's another...
I'm the interim computer guy.
Yeah, interim basis, it works.
An interim computer guy.
But the Woke Bay reached out to me. Now, his name is Garrett. And Garrett's a good kid, right? We've had him on. He's a gay guy. Not that matters, but he is. And he's dating Marina, trans girl. So he's deeply embedded
this show's going woke as fuck, Mike.
Yeah, no, it's not. Trust
a liberal and an Indian and a gay guy?
Trust me. It is not. I will not let that happen. Do not fret. Trust me. But conservative homo, right? Like Garrett's a conservative homo, which is great.
A Kovo?
So, yeah, Kovo. Kovo works. Como.
Como. There we go.
Yeah, not a Kovo.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Sorry.
So he was like, hey, man, I don't know what your plans are going forward, but I love the show. And what I loved about him is he was reaching out to me in his freakiest stages of life as an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Who thought he was maybe trans then. And he's a neat kid. He's a smart kid. And he's, I felt like bringing people into my orbit that are the same age as me and the same political views as me and the same whatever isn't probably the best place for comedy, for entertainment, for conversation. I personally think that it's better to get, it's like, hey, let's have someone younger on the computer. No offense to anybody that's been there. But I think that's good, having someone that's in the LGBTQ community. Not that that really matters to me, but in there, but also despises the whole alphabet mafia.
Yeah.
Like that part is interesting to me, and he's a smart kid. He's funny, and he's eager to learn. That's the thing about youth. They want, they're go-getters. I remember being like that too, before you get too jaded with life and everything else. And Raj is a smart-ass comedian, and what I loved about Raj's comedy is, while he can do a lot of immigrant Indian humor and it's funny, my thought always with minorities doing comedy is, okay, you've got to branch out besides like, oh, me and my Mexican mother, man. My Mexican mother. It's like, okay, great. We get it. Can you be funny about the world, about life, about your existence, your friends? Does it always have to be about this topic? And Raj, I never felt like that. I judged him before I ever saw him. And then when I saw him, I was like, this motherfucker's legit.
Yeah.
This dude's a legit pro, and he's great. Now, we have a lot of common interests and stuff. But so I'd been talking to Raj, and the plan was to get Raj here and Garrett. Garrett's eager to get them over here. And it was like, look, guys, I'm not making any promises about shit. There's not. We're either going to build something as a team.
Yeah.
And I'm mostly talking to Raj at this point,
right.
As people that have been in radio. He's been in radio and stuff. So he gets that. I'm not putting the weight of the world on Garrett.
Yeah.
That's not fair at all. He should come in and have fun and learn and be as helpful as he can. And his dad listens. There's so many positives there.
Yeah.
And
how old is he now?
He's got to be in his early 20s, maybe mid-20s.
Okay.
But he's been listening to us when he was much younger. So and he's kind of a fucking rock dude and, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'd been talking to Raj for months, and it was like the new year. Let's target the new year. I'm going to be gone for a few weeks, and then come the new year. But I didn't want to say anything. But that's why I was kind of like, I wasn't making a real effort to do a lot of stuff online.
Yeah.
I wasn't making an effort to like, hey, let's chop up all these videos and put them out, of people that weren't probably going to, this isn't what the show is going to look like in a matter of weeks or just a couple months.
That makes a lot of sense.
So that was my mindset. Now, nobody asked me about that, so nobody got that response from me.
Yeah.
They just assumed the worst. So whatever. That's fine. And that's fair. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But, that's where my thought was. So it was like, I'm not going to put the energy forth on this. I know there's going to be some radical changes. So so the plan was to get Raj out here first thing. He was going to fly out here, and it's a tough fucking schedule. It's one of those like, how do we do this? Okay, you can stay at my house. There's plenty of room. There's really plenty of room now.
Yeah, room open up.
Which is
just open up.
great.
Crazy.
Yeah. So there was already a room for him, but he could have the bigger room now.
Yeah.
So that was always there. And it was a matter of lining up schedules. Like, okay, so when do you need to be out of town? Because he's got shows.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
He's got a lot going on in Texas. He's got shows, he's got a tour, like all that kind of stuff. And so it was like, okay, we had talked about we could do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, fly out Thursday, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking like, well, maybe me and Isis do something on Thursdays or Fridays, or maybe me and Henson do something one more day a week. And,
right.
We do that. So that was all on the table too. And then, which is just by luck. And the reason I feel like I'm making it out to be too much more than it is, because basically to me, it's just like, oh, you're bringing in someone to do a show with. I didn't want people to think like, oh my God, who is this secretive hire that he's bringing in?
Yeah.
Like, no, it wasn't that. And I plan to make an announcement right away. But the more time is drug on, and I'm of the belief, like, don't say shit until you know shit.
Yeah.
Until it's done. Until it's like flights are booked and we're moving forward. And how much of that ends up on Zoom versus in studio, I don't know. We'll play it by ear. Is there support for it? If there's support for it, you bring someone in all the time.
For what it's worth, Mike, by the way.
Yeah.
People commenting, watching.
Yeah.
Lynn is in. She says Raj is awesome. She loves that guy, thinks he's hilarious.
Oh,
so
great.
There's one person already
Thank you.
on YouTube telling you.
Yeah, I should mention that too. Thank you, Isis, for reading that. That's important, buddy. Good job. If anyone comments on YouTube while we're live, Isis can read it out. You might want to avoid big words. That's all I would say. But because Isis struggles.
I do struggle.
Fuck up your
You know what's funny is I struggle with reading for a person who likes to read but when you read, you're just reading in your own head. So I'm getting words wrong all the time, probably.
Yeah. Well, if anyone does, there probably won't be a ton of responses. But if there are,
I just thought I'd
feel
throw
free
it
to
out
jump
there.
in. Thank you. And thank you, Lynn, for listening live and watching live. So I was in this weird spot the last couple weeks where I wanted to come out and be like, okay, Christmas time with family is over. I have an announcement of things because I knew I was talking to Garrett for weeks. I was talking to Raj for years. And it was like, okay, we're gonna do this and put this together. Well, Raj gets himself into a fucking car accident down in Dallas. He gets T-boned by a woman.
Oh, and a woman. Had to throw that in there.
Yeah, I know.
Boy.
You know what? I haven't even brought it up, but I got into a vicious car accident in California.
Did you really?
Well, vicious. It's some bitch fucking blasted us from behind.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, talk about a shit day. So it's me and my mom and my dad, and we were over at my sister's house, right?
Yeah.
Which is like 35 minutes from my parents' house. So my sister's in Pleasanton, my folks are in Sunnyvale. And we were over there for, I don't know, it might have been Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
Or it was Christmas Eve or something like that. Anyways, we're driving home. Oh, it was because we were watching the Christmas night game.
Okay.
Which was Niners-Ravens.
Yeah.
And we were racing home to get to the game, which we had recording
you were
at home.
Speeding.
No, we weren't speeding, but
okay.
It became a big dust up in the family.
Yeah.
Like, is it okay to bail on half your family
for the game?
For the game. And Jin does not think it is okay. But we're like, well, fuck Jin, because it's okay for us.
Yeah.
And so we made the decision we'll be here for X amount of hours, but then we're leaving.
Yeah.
Well, an 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock game is 3 hours earlier. So it's like 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, 4 o'clock, see ya.
Right, gotta go.
Having dinner at 2, I guess. And so we stayed a little longer. The game had started, but we were staying in the bubble. And we get to the fucking exit, okay?
Oh, boy.
My parents' exit, and we're sitting at the light waiting to turn right. We are literally 1 minute from the house.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I just see I'm shotgun, my dad's driving, and my mom's in the back.
Yeah.
I just see my dad's head fly forward.
Oh, no.
Boom! And we're like, what the fuck? My thumb still hurts.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so my hand was like in the door.
Yeah.
Like just fiddling around.
Yeah.
And we got thrown forward. There was literally no damage on the car, but it felt like we were about to go through the windshield.
Dang, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, you see these ones where the car's totally wrecked.
Yeah.
It's like, what must that feel like? Holy
Not fun.
shit.
I'll say
because
that.
this was, compared to that, a love tap.
Yeah.
It was nothing. My fucking thumb still hurts
Yeah.
today, and this was Christmas
Right.
night that this happened.
Oh, I believe it.
And we had when we got off the exit, it's the exit ramp off the freeway.
Yeah.
And so we're coming off it. There's a cop there, and he's got someone pulled over.
Oh.
And the lights are off on the cop car. So
Yeah.
he's wrapping up this interaction
Yeah.
with this individual. We stop at the light,
Get boom.
50 yards past them, and boom! Turns out it's the girl who was pulled over by the cop. She's pulled over by the cop.
Oh my God.
Leaves it. She's probably on her phone because she's on Christmas Day. She's gotten a ticket and fucking rams right into us.
Oh my God, she's gonna be fucked.
Yeah, she's 20 years old.
Not good.
20 years old.
Not good.
And it was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure she was Asian. So I'm talking to my sister and
Yeah, boy.
Jin. And Jin's in the background, and I was like, that's fucking Asian. And Jin's like, I knew it. I can hear him in the background. I just fucking knew it.
Hilarious.
Yeah. It was like, but I think she might have been Mexican. But either way, she's here illegally. That's all I know.
Oh,
Absolutely here illegally.
for sure. Obviously. The cop had her though. Why didn't he get rid of her?
I don't know. And the cop never came back. So he had obviously
What?
like, dude, it's the weirdest situation ever.
didn't?
She admitted that the cop had her pulled over. My parents didn't even notice this. I'm like, how did you not notice that he had her? Because his lights were off.
Yeah. Okay.
absolutely the girl that was pulled over by the cop then fucking rear-ended us, and the cop was gone, like magically. I don't know how, because it was an exit ramp. So he must have literally just whipped around
That's hilarious.
and gone the other way.
I was going to say, how did he not be the one that come to the...
No cop came. We ended up swapping insurance, and I was livid. My thumb hurt.
Yeah.
And so anyways, Raj gets T-boned. And
by a woman, apparently.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Or
a minority.
No, I thought you said
No,
it.
I can't remember what he said. I'm sure he told me.
Gotcha.
So it's like because she T-boned him and he wasn't at fault, her insurance is paying for stuff. He was getting MRIs.
Is that how it works in other states? I
think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Not in a no-fault state.
I know, that's why I was curious.
Yeah. But in Texas plays by its own rules.
Yeah, they're their own thing.
Yeah, they're you ain't in America, son. You're in Texas.
Right.
Remember,
Exactly.
And so this guy, so I'm talking to him, and her insurance is on the hook for this. Well, he's got something torn in his shoulder and something torn in his knee. It might be an ACL, might need shoulder surgery.
Oh, my God.
And so he's dealing with this, and he's like, dude, I feel okay. I can travel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So this is going to get squirrely for a little bit. Well, her insurance won't allow him to travel because he's got to do PT right now.
Oh, my God.
And so he's like, I can come for like a week and a half at a stretch. I can miss PT during that time. But if you're trying to pay out of pocket for that, not insurance, it gets really
Very
costly really quick. So I was telling him, I was like, look, Raj, I hate making announcements because I'm the only one that looks like an asshole when things fall through.
No,
if things fall through, 100% of the time, it's not my fault. If Arthur Penhallow schedules an interview with me and I'm talking to him for days and days, and I set up a fucking driver to go pick him up and all that, and then he makes up excuses the day of, and then admits to me that he was worried, I don't want to look like a fool. Who wants to hear from this old man? I was like, everybody. Fucking asshole. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to hear from you, Art.
You're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, dude.
Yeah, exactly. But I get it, whatever. But it's not Art that looks like a dickhead. It's me that looks like I committed to something. I talked about it on the show. It's set in stone, and then it doesn't happen, and I look like a dick.
Yeah.
And so that's really my fear. That I'm like, Raj, okay, I'm going to say something on the air. Okay, I was texting with him last night, and I was like, I said, if there's any part of you that is having second thoughts, cold feet, doesn't want to do it, that's fine. You can do that. But if you're not 100% sure that once we get through blah, 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 that we're going to bring you here and we're working, he goes, bro, I've never been more sure about anything in my life. This is what we've talked about for years. It's going to be a fucking blast.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Blah, blah. And so I'm like, all right, man. All right.
I think I will tell you, it's kind of the right call because you were at a point where what are we going to do? Another week of kind of going, hey, there's a future. Right?
And then it's like people were going to run wild with their own thoughts of like, who could he be talking about? It's like, no, that's not fair to.
And also the buildup would be at that point. Now you're right. It's almost
it's a disappointment.
Bringing in fucking Anthony Cumia,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Who's coming next? Ron Bennington, Anthony Cumia. No. So it was like, that's kind of what I've been dealing with for months and months and months behind the scenes. My biggest fuck up is not just pulling the trigger on something and going, right. I should have done it months ago, before the new year even, and just said, this is the plan. We've booked flights, blah, blah, blah. But it was, it was easy for me to just sit here and be comfortable and
that's what humans do.
Yeah, and I am the biggest procrastinator on planet Earth. Of everyone you know, I am capable of procrastinating completely. And it's not my friend, procrastination, but it is my reality. And so, maybe it's a blessing in disguise that Troy put that post out and was like, oh, I'm out, blah, 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 whatever. So anyways, that's why I keep overly saying how happy I am, Isis, that you're here, because it's kind of helped me in a situation where no matter what you think, you can't really do this alone. Not the way I do.
No, for sure.
It's just not that type of thing. And so you being here, Isis, and I know at first it was like, well, I'll come over 1 day a week or 2 days a week. And I was grateful for that, but you really stepped up, and it was like,
You know what, dude? Honestly, for one, I have we don't have to get fucking homo about this, but I have an obvious equal sense of, what you've done for me in my life. You've said it already before, but all the shit I've done, including the trip 2 years ago, happened because of you. The internship, which led to the podcast, which led to not even just money, but in myself, a belief that I could do things if I wanted to. So anyway,
and I appreciate that.
Point is, I have
you did it yourself. Had you been a piece of shit, you wouldn't have been here on any of those things. But
I get that.
You took advantage of the opportunity that was presented. Yeah, that's what you did. That's what I did too.
Yeah,
I was given an opportunity, and it didn't come with money, and I took advantage of it.
And the reality is, I like doing this shit. So it's not as I'm an ego person. I like talking. And I like hearing people.
You're good at
hear me talking. So it's not like a totally selfless act, but I would like to help out. I feel like it's nice that I can finally do something that I feel is giving back a little bit, maybe. But
well, I was going to make you a nice dinner, Easus, to thank you. I was going to make a spaghetti dinner, but then I found out my strainer's been stolen.
Oh my goodness! Well, all those carbs, though, Michael.
Yeah, I know.
Are you gonna get chickpea noodles like I get now? I get chickpea noodles.
Well, I could do that. I could do that. I don't have any storage bowls left anymore to put leftovers in, so you'd have to bring storage bowls over, and I don't have a cutting board anymore either. So Or my glass measuring cup is gone too, so I can't. Like I would normally like to measure everything out to make sure everything's right.
Of course.
But my glass, I've only had that for 25 years. So
you're gonna poop. You've already poo-pooed this, but I'm telling you, the Salvation Army should be your friend. Yeah. You can get shit at the Salvation Army legit.
Maybe.
I'm serious, man. Yeah. Okay, well,
my best knife too, mother.
Well, knives. That knife is a kind of a personal thing. That's kind of a bitch. I would say all that the knife to me is.
Very much intentional.
As well as symbolic.
Very much intentional, and I know that, and that fucking.
It's very borderline a horse head of the Godfather situation.
Well,
I would say.
A little bit. It's sending a message.
I would say.
Received. Message received. No, it was my serrated knife. That's great for cutting bagels and bread. And it just
all I know is I'm like a Twinkie. Apparently, I've lasted out all these people.
Yeah,
I'm just keep. That's my whole game, dude. I just keep showing up.
Yeah, dude, you are the fucking underground bunker.
I used to say sometimes when things were going really well, especially with the podcast, when it's just really well, and I used to always say like I didn't do anything special. I just wanted to do it and kept showing up. That's really what I did.
There's different types of people that can do this type of thing. There's either people that are really smart and can have an opinion and are super well spoken and well read. There are other people who are willing to Steve-O it. They're willing to do anything, no matter how dangerous, no matter how stupid, for the fucking respect and the fanfare. You're more Steve-O.
No question.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't mind being filmed. You don't mind doing stupid shit. You'll admit to everything, no matter how embarrassing, and it makes people laugh. And there's a great place when that's harnessed well. There's an absolute fucking glove fit.
Well, you've talked about it when it's come to, God, not to do all this in retrospective of the show even.
That's all right.
But people that have come and gone from this, even the seat I'm sitting in, right now, for example, like when I was with Jay, you and me, I was kind of in a different seat. Technically, in a perfect world, we would have had someone else sitting here, maybe.
Yeah.
And there was people we had that were good at it, and people that maybe weren't as good at it. And a lot of people just. I'm lucky because I wanted to be on the mic, and luckily I was willing and entertaining enough in the end by being so stupid that I was able to keep doing it.
And Jay played a good role by being a bully.
Of course.
And the problem with that is he wasn't playing a character.
That's true. But
he was a bully to you, and I probably should have done more.
I'm okay with that.
But it was fun. I knew
that.
had I seen like a real effect on you personally, like you were taking or giving a shit, I probably would have played it different. There were definitely times when I go, "Yeah, you all right?"
You know the only time. But oh well, we don't have to.
Go ahead.
We don't have to do this. But I'll say that. Well, I was just gonna say we don't have to go like examples of shit. But what I was gonna actually say though is that when you do something like this, it is about finding your role and just understanding that that's your role.
Yeah.
And you have to be. And like the funny thing is that like some people want to talk. and maybe they're not as funny as they think they are, unfortunately. I have faults too, but you know what I mean, for sure. But like I just knew that the role was. But like, and you know the funny thing is, sorry, can I say one more thing? I'm so sorry, because I was trying to say something specifically. So someone, if they think they're funny and they're maybe not as funny, but they're really good at one thing and they just don't, I should just stick to this part and you'll be there, man.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like, I think people think though, that'd be easy. He's getting the attention. He's on the mic. Yeah. Dude, it is not as easy as someone might think to fucking be railed on a regular basis.
I've never seen anyone take it better. Mike Clark was pretty close.
Yeah.
Mike Clark took some savage beatings.
No question about that.
With drops and multiple people, and he rolled with it.
Yeah.
And there were times when Mike wasn't rolling with it well, and you could hear that too.
Well, for me, the biggest time when I wasn't was when the whole 95.5 thing.
Yeah.
Because
which is why we held the meeting with you, because we could tell something was amiss.
I'd gotten to the point where at the time I wasn't making any money, and I'm having just people tell me, dude, they're talentless, he's this, he's that, emails. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to fucking Zot Forward at 5 a.m. I'm coming here, I'm not getting paid, I'm living at home.
Yeah.
What? And then, by the way, in my mind, I would say, like, you got Mike and Jay who are saying you respect these people so much, yet I'm here. So why isn't more going on them for not getting me out of here then if I'm so untalented?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that did finally get to me. I will admit that one. But it wasn't you guys.
No, I know.
You guys were doing it was just after a
Dude,
while.
we were putting on a show.
Yeah.
Like it was the show. And it all worked out.
Anyway, that's a little neither here nor there. But.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's
I think for whatever it's worth though, I think what you have kind of in the works here, I think is good. I think it has a potential to be very solid.
Yeah.
You know, Raj is obviously fucking hilarious for real. And the times he's been here, I've always really enjoyed the times I've been here when he's been here.
Me too.
And I do think it's a good idea. Like you're doing it because it's organic, but you know, the idea of having a different perspective, a younger guy who happens to be gay, almost turned trans, but it is organic. It's not like you went on an American Idol audition.
Right.
No. Gay guy on.
No. The fact is that people don't understand is Garrett has reached out to me for years, since he was a teenager. Not in some fucking gay way, but just like he was a fan of the show.
Yeah.
And I loved it that there were multiple. I'm not going to name names, but there have been multiple guys over the years, or girls that have been in, I feel like the outcast in society, and they're young, and they reach out to me. They're fans of the show, and I love talking to them and just going, hey, hang in there. A lot of us were fucking goofballs and weirdos. It's not, and so Garrett, I would never bring someone on like that because he loves cock and he's with a trans girl. Marina's sweet as hell. It has almost nothing to do with that, honestly. almost nothing.
Like 10%.
It doesn't. But I recognize the potential. Like, okay, let's hear what someone in this community has to say. I recognize the potential in that. That's why I say almost. But other than if he wasn't as cool as he was,
right,
and as outspoken and reaching out as he was, I never would have known him personally enough to be able to go, you might work in this. You might fit in this.
You're not taking him just because of the cocksucking.
Hell no. No, the cocksucking is very, very small on the list.
Okay.
And no, not anyway. And the cool thing, and to be honest with you, that's a great point right there, because he would find that funny too.
Yeah.
That's why it's like, okay,
I would make the joke if I didn't think you were bringing a person who couldn't take the joke.
And Raj can take it too.
Yeah.
Raj, the one person in this discussion that would have the hardest time taking it is me, because I'm used to being the one dishing it. And like,
no, it might be different for you.
Yeah. It'll be a lot
bringing
different
in a legit comic who
can go toe to toe.
Yeah.
So, and has radically different views on certain things. Yeah. That's.
But you know what?
It doesn't make my job easier. That's for sure. For certain.
Which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
You want to talk about getting out of your comfort zone? I think I think it's a time for it.
And I think it's for the benefit of the show. Honestly, I do. I don't. What I heard over and over and over with Troy was like, two guys the same age with the same stories.
Yeah.
Like there's that, and I could feel it. I know that feeling.
Right.
And it was like there could have been a spot for him here in that. That would have been fine. He's very competent. He's very self-assured, and he's not going to drop the ball on shit. Like, there's plenty of positives there that could have been utilized.
Yeah.
It comes down to immediate success. Are you able to pay money? Like, that's what it really boils down to, is if you can't make a living doing it, then people don't want to do it.
Right.
And so it's like, it is what it is. It's going to be hard to do to fire a business back up, but I've done it before, and I know what it looks like. And the other thing is, I really, really need to work with a team. It
makes a huge difference.
It's a huge difference to me. I'm just not one of those self-starters that can do his own thing and is self-motivated. I'm just not that guy.
Dude,
and I wasn't that guy when I was 5.
To be honest with you, even if you are, and I'm not trying to compare anybody, but I actually am a pretty hard worker.
Yeah, you are.
Right? And I've been trying to do my stuff here for the last few years, and it's going okay. I'm doing better. It's grown a little, whatever. Not nearly what I wish it would be, right? And I was talking to my sister recently, and we were really into these ASMR videos and shit like that. We were talking about it. And one of the girls that we really liked at one point, but we've kind of don't like her new stuff as much and whatever. Lauren said she finally watched one of her, she did a thing in the year where, like, the outtakes. And I don't know why, but I put the pressure on myself when I do, like, my podcast, and I should be making social media posts and sharing things on YouTube and all. And I try to do it. And my sister said when she heard this girl talking, I kind of thought these girls did just do it. Like, they did just, even though she's got 5 million followers on YouTube, that she just did these videos herself, essentially.
Hell no.
Dude, no, she's got 5. Lauren said she's got 5 people in her ear telling her, hey, and she's doing
redo that.
She's doing these little, and she's got a person chimes in, hey,
why don't we explain what
ASMR
is for people that don't know? It's actually not as dopey as you think. Like,
I love it.
It's like a feather over a microphone.
Yeah.
People whispering, and it can be annoying as shit. But there is something mildly soothing about it. There's ones where people are just like, like on a microphone, they're just rolling their fingers. Or there's one that I was watching, and this guy would have this plate of food, like raw food, vegetables, meats, and his Doberman Pinscher would come in and eat it all raw.
Okay.
And it was just like,
I talked about this summer for real with, like, the horses. We were up there talking about it. Like, you could do ASMR videos of horses eating hay or shit like that. Or, or oats.
We're not helping the history of this show by talking about this
well,
stuff. We came out as Swifties a week ago, and now this.
I have anxiety issues, and I will say that meditation over the last few years and ASMR videos, man. Sometimes in the middle of the day, and I used to take naps, and I'm not saying I don't take naps anymore, but now instead of that, I'll find like a half-hour ASMR video, and I'll just put it on and close my eyes for a half hour, and I think that helps more.
I did that with a therapist once.
Yeah,
she was great, and but she would do ASMR to me, and I would fall asleep.
Yeah, no, that can happen.
Start snoring. Like every time.
Yeah.
And so it was like, you're supposed to get really relaxed and all that, but you're not supposed to fall asleep. And I was like, well,
it's funny because sometimes I do and sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes I actually do. Sometimes what happens for me personally is, like, I get into a state where I'm not fully asleep.
Yeah.
But, like, when it ends, I definitely wake up. Like, like I'm almost in a half sleep.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Anyway, my point of saying that is that I never even considered in these, because when you do this stuff, like you said, you can get so down on yourself. I should be doing more. I should be always doing more. And I'm like, my sister was like, dude, this girl, I don't know why I thought she was doing it kind of on her own, or maybe with one other helper. And she's like, no, she had like 5 people.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, you can refilm that, or we didn't quite get that on the mic as good or something.
Yeah, and editing videos and posting them, and
it's such a big job.
It's such a big job, and it's very specific. And luckily, Raj is good at it. Raj has gotten good at it. Newberg's gotten pretty good at it.
He's really worked at it.
And just figuring out what segment to take from where and when. And there's a whole list of things to follow, like time of the day you post, how often you post.
Yeah.
All of that shit comes into play.
It's such a pain.
It's overwhelming. Right. And I like editing. I like doing editing stuff, and I was pretty good at it,
Yeah.
But it becomes something different than what I set out to do. Like, that's not what I set out to do by doing this. This is what I like doing. And everything else is a chore, and it's complicated, and it's hard. And, you know, it's just got to be done, though. It just does.
Yeah.
So, you know.
It's
but that was never.
But it is. I love social media, and it's a bitch for me to regularly be like, I should be doing more. I always should be doing more. I should always be doing more.
And the fact is, I knew that was never going to happen with what I was doing. Right. Mm-hmm. With what was going on here, that was never going to happen.
No, to be honest with you, I mean, I always knew that there was this connection with Raj. You know, I know that's not a hidden secret between us anyway.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to happen almost at some point, and nothing against what was going on, but if someone in the room isn't going to be the one doing that kind of stuff, you're kind of just going to spin wheels.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate. It kind of sucks, but it's part of it.
Yeah. And it's changed. It's changed a lot.
I would say this, that, you know, the freedom that you love, that you talk about, not having the big boss and that's great. But the other side of that is then you have to do the other stuff that you don't have to do when you have the big boss. When you have the big boss, you have an team of interns and a team of production and a team of,
marketing and sales and no doubt.
It's the other flip of that coin, I guess.
Yeah, it's the other side of the coin. It is. It's true. And it is what it is. But I know what my faults are. I know what my problems are. And we all have them. And I can either beat myself up for that for eternity. That doesn't seem to be helping. Or we can push forward and try and put out a good product and then do the necessary evil part along with it. And so that's the plan. It really isn't much more than that. I wanted to give you guys a heads up on what the thoughts were. Because I know it came as a shock to a lot of you, the way things kind of just happened. And then I went out of town for a few weeks. And
as with most things though in life, things rarely just happen on a dime.
Right. They never do. And that was certainly a long time coming. You know, to be honest with you, I consider myself a pro in this space. And so I have a job to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, trying to keep an audience entertained is my primary, goal. And that doesn't involve a lot of, whatever else is going on behind the scenes all the time. And it's not easy. It's not easy, dealing with me or me dealing with other people. I think you said something interesting a little bit ago about to someone like you and someone like me, knowing your place has never been hard. I always knew my place on the Drew and Mike show. I knew what I was. Yeah. I wasn't Mike Clark. I wasn't Drew Lane. And the amount of fucking people we have had in this room, and you've seen it first, Andy.
Right.
That get it out of the gate and then quickly don't when they get comfortable.
Yeah.
And start thinking they've somehow arrived and they're more important than everything. And I'm not talking about Troy or Jay or anything like that.
No, I know what you mean.
That's not what I'm talking about. Okay.
It's hard.
I'm not subtly shitting on those guys at all. But
it's easy to say, I just want to help. I just want to help. And then you're right. At some point, sometimes people just step out of that zone. And it's almost too bad because I believe that there was a point of a group of people in this room that if everyone had done the job
and stayed in line,
it would have been very good.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I'm not trying to shit on it, but it's what it is.
Yep. I wish K-Dog would have stuck around longer. K-Dog was great.
He was.
I miss
in
K-Dog.
A perfect world, he was the guy.
Yeah.
He was, but the
K-Dog was never going to be the guy no matter what. You could pay K-Dog $1 million a year and he'd still want to do something else.
No.
It's just, which is what makes him so unique and so special.
Yeah.
But K-Dog he's either going to be a billionaire or homeless,
Right.
Which is probably the way K-Dog will go.
Yeah.
But he's one of those guys that he wants to know about. He'll probably work on a fishing boat. And the more we talk to him, it's like, oh, you're a pilot too? Oh, and you're it's just the way that dude was.
Right.
And he was like, I like this show. I wonder what it's like to be on a show. So I'm going to figure out how to get in there. And those kind of guys are great.
He was the perfect role for what he did, though.
Yeah.
He was willing to share when it came out. Things would slip out, but he was fine just sitting there. He didn't need to talk. He didn't.
Nope.
He was good.
Yeah.
Good dude for sure.
Absolutely. He reached out to me not long ago, too. I got to grab
He always texts me happy birthday.
Does he?
Yeah, still.
Yeah.
To this day.
That's great. He's a great dude. I was going to do some stories, but I'll probably just pass on that.
That makes sense. I felt that you're going to just all of a sudden now. And so in the news.
Iowa, the Iowa caucuses, and Trump fucking beat everything. Yeah. it just seems kind of silly. So why don't we do some of that stuff tomorrow?
Sounds good.
I think that's as good a place as any. I really wanted to do it yesterday, and then it just felt weird coming out of the Henson stuff. So.
And in general with the Lions, God,
yeah,
so awesome. Anyway,
it's so awesome. It is, man.
It's great.
You know what? I've got some emails. Why don't I just do those tomorrow too? I'm trying to think if there's anything that's pressing for right this minute, and there's not. Maybe I'll read this one from John. His bills I was talking about earlier. They won yesterday.
I know John.
I haven't. I usually pre-read the first sentence, so this could be something that's so out of date that it doesn't matter. But I had it in my pile here, so it's not from that long ago, January 11th. Like you, Mike, I have the Sunday ticket to get my Bills games. Yeah, it's a necessary. You have to.
Yeah.
This year was a strange one, as you pointed out, going to YouTube. I was not happy with it. I know there's pluses and minuses for sure. Number one, $350. Maybe that was on par with DirecTV, but I know next year it goes up to $450. Yeah, I think I paid $300 most years for DirecTV's Sunday ticket.
I wonder if honest to God, I wonder if they've made the decision that they know they've reached this peak of some level, and they're just going to start charging, and we know we're going to lose people, but we're going to charge more, and certain people will just always pay.
Buddy, it's funny you say that because I had a story in here. Maybe we can just do this one. And I thought this was horrible news.
It's about the Peacock thing when they had the commercial talking about how awesome it was that 20 million people watched Peacock or whatever.
Yeah, well, it set a streaming record.
Yeah, that's bad news.
I was like, this isn't bad news. This is terrible news. Because you can expect a lot more.
Yep.
So they put the first playoff game behind a paywall that they've ever done, and they didn't know what kind of response they'd get. Well, it's the Chiefs and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Wasn't a great game. Fourth coldest NFL game ever. Our entire company worked seamlessly to plan for this game and executed flawlessly to deliver a streaming experience with the NFL on a scale that's never been done before. Chairman and CEO of NBC's parent company, Comcast, said. It's a very problem. You know what else, Brian Roberts? It was always doing that.
Yeah.
Don't act like you came in.
Right.
We delivered this, executed flawlessly, airing this game. Yeah, it's been going on for 50 years like that.
Because of that. That's what. Because of you.
Yeah, that's not why. All you did was fucking gouge us.
Yeah.
You stole $6 from people for something they're used to getting for free. Roger Goodell said, we couldn't be any prouder of our partnership with Peacock and are thrilled with the results of the first ever exclusively live streamed NFL playoff game. So what did he say there? We couldn't be prouder of our partnership. To best serve our fans, we need to ensure games are available to them as their viewing habits change, and this includes digital distribution as we continue to help shape the future of sports and entertainment industry.
Blah.
Best serving your fans isn't greedily gouging your fans.
No, it's not.
Okay, that's not. You make enough off the NFL. You do, Roger Goodell. You make more than any player in the NFL does personally. You don't need to steal fucking $6 from your loyal fan base. So, by the way, the reason this is terrible news is because they didn't know. Is this going to be crossing a line that can't be uncrossed? Where people go,
good question.
Fuck it, I'm not paying an extra $6 to get this game. And had this drawn in 5 million viewers, that would have been the message sent. But by getting a record-setting streaming, 23 million viewers, well, it's a postseason NFL game. You're going to get big numbers. If the postseason is behind a paywall today, okay, if you could put the postseason behind a paywall today, we're not that far off from paying a $100 pay-per-view for the Super Bowl.
By the way,
it's as simple as that. Let me finish that thought.
Sorry.
Think about that for a second. If you'll pay $6 for a postseason playoff game, they're going to a la carte all those things and make you pay for all of them in the postseason. And think about it. Why wouldn't they just do a pay-per-view on the Super Bowl? And so everybody that can afford $100 easily will get the Super Bowl. Everybody else will, I don't know what they'll do. Watch highlights on YouTube.
I won't watch it. But I would say this. Not to be
you would if it was the Lions, though. And you'd be forced.
So one time, though. I'm saying I wouldn't watch those other ones, though.
Yeah.
And actually, for the Lions one, I'd be watching it somewhere other than home anyway. But I would say this, not to be conspiratorial. Who's to say they're not fucking lying?
To say that maybe they got 1 million viewers.
Wait, what the fuck do we know?
Yeah.
They just say that, and then they say, well, we got it, so we're going to just charge.
Well, it's an NFL playoff game. No, 100%. There's a reason Netflix hides all their numbers.
Right.
There's a reason they don't want you to know those numbers. And it's because it gives them leverage.
Like, what would
to act like their numbers are huge, or act like, and they're all in on it. They're all doing it.
Because could you imagine, what was the NFL going to come out and say it failed? Now, maybe they just wouldn't have said anything, but
there would have been a lot of people asking, and yeah, I don't know. And maybe that 23 million viewers is bullshit anyways, because I imagine what they're doing is combining the NBC local broadcast numbers with the streaming.
But what about people that were already like my parents already had Peacock?
Yeah, me too.
Does that count? You know what I mean?
I don't know. Did you have to click on that? Because I already had Peacock too for that Montana documentary.
I don't know. They've had it for a long time for whatever reason. But my point is though, so does that count? We watched a few minutes. We watched some of the game.
Yeah. You definitely did.
Right. So, but I would never have gotten it for that game.
No. I got you. So I know next year goes up to $450, a 28% increase or so. So with this, I expected to be watching all Bills games. Turned out with all the primetime games and their games being made regional here,
oh boy,
I only used the Sunday ticket for their games 4 times. That turned out to be almost $100 a game. It's a pain to navigate between games, too, if you want to check in on other games. I agree. It's really bad if you want to switch between the YouTube games and the regional games on local TV with having to flip from the internet TV to cable satellite TV. It's better to have multiple TVs set up in a room. To add insult to injury on cost, they did an exclusive game on Saturday with Peacock 2 for a Bills-Chargers game. I had to buy the $5.99 package or whatever that was for that game. Thankfully, I signed up last minute to where I can watch this game they scheduled recently here. But I agree, they are going to be doing more and more of this. I am with you on just charge me for my games if it starts getting more expensive. It's getting ridiculous. Good hearing you again, John. Yeah, I agree 100%. It's going to get more and more ridiculous. And fine, if you want to do that, good. I'll cart me to death. Just I'll buy all my Niners games and I'll get all my Lions games regionally.
Yeah,
that's fine while I'm here. Now, if I move and I'm somewhere that I'm not in those local markets anymore, then I'll buy 2 fucking games a week. And split it with my brother. You know what I mean? Whatever.
But you're a P1.
Oh yeah.
And the funny thing is, I'm a sports fan. I think I am.
Yeah, I'm hand, mouth, butt, vagine, and football.
Right.
Like I am their P1, but they're losing me.
I'm telling you, if the Lions had, I love it. Great that they're back. If the Lions had went through a string of 4 years of 3 wins, I'm not buying.
No.
I'll just be like, oh well.
Yeah.
See what the score is on my ESPN.com or whatever, and I'll be good.
Yep.
Go to a bar if it's really big enough.
And I don't blame you for it. It's one thing to stay on the bandwagon, be supportive.
For free?
When you're getting it over broadcast network television and it's just part of, hey, I bought a TV, I get to watch these games. It's one thing to be that diehard fan, but to ask you to pay $20 for a game when your team blows, forget
the only way I would do it?
Forget it.
The only way I would do it, is if they made it all paywall, but then fucking cut the commercials by more than half.
They can't do that.
I know. They can't because it's all reliant.
Or cut all the commercials by all.
Right. I'll pay for that.
Yeah.
You want me to pay fucking $100 a year, but but the fucking game, instead of taking 5 hours, takes 3 hours or, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in then. But
never happened.
Yeah.
No, they don't care. It's why I say they don't give a shit when Matthew Stafford is concussed on the field. What was more important was getting him back on the field. I don't believe for 1 second they give a shit about a player that beats the fuck out of a woman. They don't care. They've proven that, and the reason I can say that is they've proven for decades that they don't care.
Right.
They fought the brain specialist every step of the way to make us not aware of concussions and what was really happening. They didn't want players to know. They didn't even want them asking questions. And they shut that down for years. That's how I know they don't give a shit about the woman at home getting her ass kicked by some roided up lineman. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about player safety. It's what can we get away with? What can we get away? So they don't care about you. Fine, you want a product that you can pay for every game. That's how they feel. And once you figure that out fully, you're way ahead of the game. Then you understand the dumb decisions they make.
Yeah.
This was a bridge too far by putting behind a paywall an NFL playoff game. And they didn't go all the way. They let it stay in the regional markets, and oh yeah, you guys can watch it for free. But any of you other clowns want to follow this game, pay up. Like, they don't make enough. An average family can't even go to a game anymore, let alone a playoff game. Can't afford it, period. They don't care. So it is what it is. We'll see what they do to this once great sport. We'll see. A lot of people are upset about it. But
hey, Mike, real quick before you end.
Yeah.
Because I finally read, we talked about it. I was going to try to maybe read some of these comments. And so I didn't think these were necessarily worthy of mentioning, but I don't almost want to get called out like, oh, he finally read a comment. He didn't read these two about someone says they're late to the party and what happened. Did E come out? And then somebody else just said, I think he's been out. So I just want it on the record that I will not just read.
You weren't avoiding the gay accusation.
No, I just didn't necessarily think they fit into the thing, but
whatever E was yesterday, he still is today. Let's just leave it at that.
It's good enough.
So whatever he was yesterday, there was no coming out party or anything like that. So whatever you thought he was yesterday, he's still that.
But I felt this sense of like I finally read a comment and then I didn't want to like all of a sudden be like, oh, but he's not reading those gay things.
Yeah, no, he's reading the gay things. He doesn't care.
Okay.
Do you want to do one tomorrow, Isis?
I will.
Okay. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully you guys will all join us then. And please send your emails too. I'd love to hear from you. Give me your thoughts on everything we talked about today. Walters@DetroitCast.com. And that's Walters with an O.